Do you or your children overgeneralized? Hi, I'm Ann Alvarez, parent coach of the Masterful Parenting Program, and today I want to talk about overgeneralization. Now, this is a cognitive distortion, and I've been getting these cognitive distortions from American psychiatrist David D. Burns, who wrote a book called Feeling Good, the New Mood Therapy. And so he talks about how, like, these negative thoughts that we have impact our lives. It actually could even, like, when we ruminate on these negative thoughts, can bring us to like a state of depression. So important to combat these cognitive distortions. And I think I've talked about a few of the cognitive distortions already. So one of them was personalization, personalizing things. The other thing I talked about was blaming. The other thing I talked about was the shoulds. Okay, these are all cognitive distortions. But today I want to talk about overgeneralization. So, overgeneralization is something bad happened to you. And so you think that every time you expose yourself to that, that it's going to happen again. So, like, I'll give you an example. Let's say that you uh, you were riding your bike and you got into an accident. Okay, actually, this happened to me when I was in high school. I was never a very confident biker, and we had to ride a bike, and I didn't want to tell the teacher, like, I don't really know how to ride a bike very well. I was really really shy, and I was like, okay, I'm just gonna try this. And I started to ride my bike, and then I was so worried that I was going to crash into these pedestrians, and so then I veered my bike over to the right and I fell into a ditch, and it was pretty bad. Like, I was really traumatized and really upset. And then my teacher was like mad at me because, why didn't you tell me you couldn't ride a bike? And it was really embarrassing. So my overgeneralization was, I'm not going to ride a bike anymore. And actually, I didn't ride a bike for years and years and years, until my oldest, I don't know, maybe 6 years ago, said, Mom, you got to ride a bike. So that is an overgeneralization. Something bad happened, and I believed that every time I try and ride a bike, I'm going to crash. Okay. And our kids probably have those kinds of generalizations too. If something is really traumatic, then we go to that place that every time um, I experience it, every time I try, I am going to experience something bad again. All right. So, and it's not helpful, right? Like, I stopped riding a bike for decades. Um, and I didn't challenge that overgeneralization. So we have to challenge those overgeneralizations because they simply are not true. If you've had a bad experience, let's say uh, dating, and then you never date again, or you had a bad experience um, hiking, and then you're like, oh, I don't want to ever hike again because I got stung by five bees, then you're making your world so small because you're making that experience magnified and stopping you from creating a new experience, right? Based on that. So that really is fear based. And our kids will have overgeneralizations as well, especially if they're like sensitive children. So, like, the similar thing happened with my son, where he was on a bike trip with his school, and then he had a really bad accident. Like, it was actually really bad. He couldn't walk. He had uh, really an injury to his knee. It was bleeding. There was a lot of blood, and he couldn't really walk for like a few weeks really well. And that experience, like, similarly to me, it's like we're repeating, that experience made him not want to ride a bike again. So this is what I did. I let him talk about it. I'm like, yeah, you know what? It was really bad. You're right. Like, you had a bad injury from that bike ride, but you learned a lesson. Like, you went too fast. You went too fast down that hill because somebody was telling you to go faster. And you should never listen to other people. You should only listen to yourself because you know what you can do and what's safe. Um, but I don't want you to give in to fear. And I know you're not ready, like to get on a bike trip, but maybe you can just like, get on the bike and then just do a little bit of bike riding um, in the parking lot and see how you feel. And so he was willing to do that, like baby steps. Whenever we have fear, we got to do baby steps because the baby steps will build up our confidence. And so he was willing to do that. And then he got more and more confident. And then he actually did do like a little bike trip with us and and overcame that fear. So that's what we can do, parents, when our kids are overgeneralizing, magnifying a bad experience that they had. We can say, I understand, I hear, like that was traumatic. But here's the thing, I don't want you to give in to fear. I want you to try, and we can do baby steps. We can just, go out for a little bit or, try the experience for just a little bit. And as soon as you're feeling uncomfortable, we can stop and then we can try again. And this is how we move through fear, is taking action and stepping into it. Okay. So I hope that helps parents. That is overgeneralization. So we have to like watch it for ourselves and then we have to watch it in our children and then continue to challenge that thinking because that's fear based and living in fear is never a full life. So we want our kids to have a full life and not live in fear. All right. Thank you so much for listening. And, I'm on Facebook. I have a podcast, Masterful Parenting, Instagram, and a YouTube channel. So there's lots of places to find me. And I also have a course that I'm offering through Teachable. It is a 3-week course boot camp. So if you're interested in that, let me know. Thank you. Take care.